أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I start in the name of God, the most beneficent and the most merciful, and welcome and greet all of you with the Islamic greeting of Assalamu alaikum. Those who are guests, have you understood what I said? Yes, what do you think it meant? Assalamu alaikum.
Welcome and peace to you.
It's a good guess, right? Peace of God be upon you. So that is the greeting that we greet each other when we meet with each other. You know, today is the 14th of May, and many of you, maybe all of you, you may be celebrating Mother's Day. How many mothers in this room here? And grandmothers? Okay, give them a big hand, right? It's a big honor for you to be mothers, grandmothers, you know, great-grandmothers, maybe some of you. What's your name, brother? Yeah. Yeah, Darren, he was reading a poster up there that speaks about mothers, and it says that paradise lies beneath your mother's feet. When I asked him the question, he said, you know, that's really important. That's really, you know, amazing ways that Islam honors its mothers. But there is also one more saying of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. A Muslim person approached the Prophet and he asked this question, that of all the people in the world, who should be my love, my compassion, right? My obedience should go towards. Look at the question. Who should I be the best towards compared to all the people in the world? The Prophet, he said, your mother. Then the person asked the question again. The person was curious. Okay, who next after the mother? And the Prophet, he said, your mother. And the third time, the person asked the same question. Then the Prophet, he said, your mother. The fourth time, then the Prophet said, your father. All right? So if mother and fathers, if we are playing the spiritual Olympics, the gold medal goes to the mothers. So does the silver and the bronze medals. And poor dads like me, they come home with a participation prize. Right? That's the respect, the honor, the love, admiration Islam has given to mothers. Okay, here is a quiz question to all of you. Name me a mother of a prophet who we consider as a prophet, who is respected so much that she is the only mother, the only woman mentioned in the whole Quran by name. Who is that lady, that mother Islam respects so much? Wow, all of you know the answer, right? Did you guys read the posters there? She's mentioned somewhere here, right? Oh, there we go. Jesus and Mary in the Quran or Islam, right? Yes. Can you imagine the only lady mentioned by name in the whole Quran is none other than Mary, the mother of Jesus. Not the mother of Muhammad, peace be upon him, not his wife and daughter and any other believing ladies. It is a quote-unquote a Jewish lady who came 600 years before Muhammad, peace be upon him. He never met her, never saw her. She is the only person honored in the Quran close to 34 times. So actually there is a passage regarding her in the Quran in chapter 3 verse number 42 to be exact, in which God is saying about Mary. So God sends an angel to Mary, and the angel is speaking to Mary, and the angel is saying that, oh Mary, God has chosen you, God has purified you, and God has chosen you above all the women. The respect, the honor, the admiration Islam has given to women, especially to the mother of Jesus, Mary, peace be upon her. So I thought that's an important fact. Okay, one more question, right? Since we are in the question and answer session right away. A question is, how many times that you think she's mentioned in the New Testament? So I mentioned in the Quran 34 times approximately. How about in the New Testament? Without Googling the answer, right? No chat GPT over here allowed, all right?
4 times.
Let's be more generous, okay? Not 4 times, how about 18 times? So we Muslims love Mary than you guys, right? We respect and honor. So one of the indications the Quran is not the word of Muhammad, peace be upon him, is that if it were his word, he would have honored his mother, his wife, his daughter in the Quran along with Mary or instead of Mary. So what we say is the Quran is coming from the Creator to Muhammad, peace be upon him. He was a recipient sharing the Quran and practicing the wonderful guidance which is there in the Quran. Okay, with that being said, I prepared a short presentation for all of you, and usually my presentations they do start with Q&A. All right, so that was the appetizer Q&A. Here is the real Q&A. All right. So the first question I have for all of you is that in which book you don't find the mention of these prophets? Moses, Abraham, Ishmael, Isaac, David, Solomon, peace be upon them. It's not a trick question, by the way, right? Hindu scriptures, all right, the brother got the right answer, the Hindu scriptures. So the point I'm trying to make from that slide and that question is that all of those prophets are also mentioned in the Quran. All right, all of those prophets are also mentioned in the Quran. I as a Muslim cannot be a Muslim if I don't believe in the prophethood of those prophets. That's an important point. So some of those prophets, actually the Quran mentions the names of 25 prophets and messengers. There you go. You have the Arabic names like Musa for Moses, Yusuf for Joseph, Suleiman for Solomon, Dawood for David. So that shows the commonality that we have, that shows the connection that we have in the commonality between all of these prophets and all of these messengers. So based upon that slide, the next question for me to all of you would be this, all right? Where is that question? Hold on. Here is that question. Who is the second most mentioned prophet by name in the whole Quran? Because usually when I mention the most mentioned name, people know the answer. All right? Okay. Who is the most mentioned prophet by name in the whole Quran? Okay, no, hold on. Let me have the non-Muslim guest take the chance to answer the questions, all right? Our non-Muslim brothers and sisters, you have the first choice of answering the question. Who is the most mentioned? Then we will come to the second most mentioned. Yes, sister. Moses. Give her a big hand. She knows it, right? I hope nobody helped you. All right. Okay, good. Moses is mentioned 136 times in the whole Quran. The second most mentioned prophet is who? All right, the brother got it. All right, very good. Good job, right? So can you imagine the most mentioned prophet in the whole Quran is the greatest prophet of the Old Testament. Again, the connection is there. So almost in every page you can find either the name of Moses or Abraham or any one of those amazing prophets. Their miracles, their people, their challenges, and especially their message of the oneness of the Creator. So that's the main point in that slide, is that the main message and the connection that we have. All right, this could be the last question, then we can take more questions after the short presentation, right? Okay, name 2 miracles of Jesus who we consider as a prophet mentioned in the Quran, and these miracles are not mentioned in the Bible. What would you say? I'm looking at you, mashallah, right? Okay, anyone, go ahead. The floor is open. Any one of you may have seen the banner up there, or some other banners. You already know the answer, I guess. Name 2 miracles of Jesus as documented in the Quran, and they're not present in the Bible. What would you say? It's not walking on water, all right? Let's take that away. It's not even turning the water into wine, which is the first miracle in the Bible of Jesus in Matthew. Okay, how many of you have read the Quran? Our non-Muslim brothers and sisters, just raise a hand. Any portion of the Quran that you guys read? Don't worry, I will not pick on you, all right? Okay, many, okay. You too, right? You read some Quran, okay. Okay, anyone, any Muslims over here, you guys know the answer? Go for it. Okay, he spoke in the cradle when he was a baby, right? Can you guys imagine? baby Jesus, he spoke. And you may be wondering, what did he say, right? Am I hungry? Right? What did Jesus say when he spoke? So here is the story. Here is an amazing story. So one thing that the Quran believes is that Mary, she was a virgin when she became pregnant with Jesus. So after she gave birth to Jesus, she was really afraid that what will my people say and think? They will accuse me of adultery, fornication, but she didn't have a choice. After she delivered Jesus, she brought the baby to her people. And they started to accuse her, pointing fingers at her, blaming her, immodesty, unchastity, and all these, nasty things. What can she say? There is no DNA test, there is no evidence. What can she say, right? She remained quiet. At that point, she pointed to baby Jesus. And baby Jesus, just a few days old, he started to speak. So this is documented in chapter 19 of the Quran, verse number 30 and onwards. The English translation is this: baby Jesus, he's speaking and he's saying that I am a servant of God. God made me a prophet and God gave me a book. And God gave me to be good to my mother and to pray and to give charity. Then he goes on. So that's the very first thing, the very first miracle about Jesus is documented in the Quran. Okay, what other miracles? So there is one more miracle or few other miracles. So one other miracle in the Quran, not in the Bible. Anyone? Imam, I'm looking at you. Right? He's the Imam of the masjid, right? No, sorry, I don't want to pick on you. He has the Quran in front of him. You can peek if you want. He memorized the whole Quran too, mashallah. Yeah, table from heaven, right? The way that you guys are eating, this is just, food that they cooked in the back somewhere, right? Or they are catered. Just imagine if God sent food from heaven and people are eating that food. Amazing, out of this world food. That is a miracle. One more miracle, Imam, as you know obviously, is that it says in the Quran chapter 3 verse number 49 and onwards that Jesus, he used to make birds of clay and breathe into them and they used to fly off. And he used to heal the lepers and the sick. And then the Quran also says that he gave life to the dead. But after every miracle of Jesus mentioned in this passage, God is saying it is by the permission, the power of God that Jesus was doing those miracles. Just to make sure that people don't start worshipping a human because he's doing miracles. God is clear in the Quran, those miracles are coming not from Jesus or any prophet, those miracles are coming from the Creator. By His power, by His permission, Jesus was doing those miracles. So just to make sure that in the same context, Jesus was not the only prophet who did miracles in the Quran or documented in the Quran. Muhammad, peace be upon him, there are many miracles in the Quran, outside of the Quran, that he performed, which are documented. Moses parted the Red Sea. Abraham did many miracles, so did Ishmael and Isaac and Solomon and David, many prophets that did miracles. Every miracle of any prophet according to Islam, according to the Quran, God is the power, God is the source. So to God we worship and not the humans. So that's an important message of Islam. So in the context of Islam, it will not be complete, any lecture, any presentation, if we don't highlight all the prophets, but especially Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So he was born in Arabia around the year 570, right? 570, 571. So when he was born, this was the state of Arabia at that time. Idol worship was rampant. Almost every home, every corner, there used to be an idol. Monotheism was diluted as it was brought by Abraham, Jesus, Moses, peace be upon all those prophets. War was, so many wars, every month, every day, every year. Female infanticide was really common. Oppression of women was common. When it comes to female infanticide, it's quite stark. It's quite depressing. It's dark ages before Islam came to Arabia at that time. What they used to do is, it was a sense of shame for any home to have a baby girl born in that home. What they used to do, some of them, they used to bury the baby girls alive. That was the state of darkness. But after Islam came, Islam uplifted women equal to men in the eyes of God spiritually. Gave different roles but equal reward, right? Maybe in the Q&A session we can go over some of the rights, the honors and the respect Islam has given to women. Some of those are documented in this wall over here. So that was the state in which Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, that he was born. As you can see from the chart over here, that Muhammad, peace be upon him, he's over here. Oops, there you go. He's over here. However, he's a direct descendant of Ishmael, and Ishmael was the oldest son of Prophet Abraham. And obviously Prophet Abraham had one more son, actually 3 sons, but these are the 2 main ones. So Isaac, through the lineage of Isaac, you have all of these descendants and all of these prophets, right? And from the lineage of Ishmael, the oldest son, you have this one prophet, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And through him, the rest of the Arabs and many, many other Muslims. So there is a connection, right? So Muslims and the Jews and the Christians, we are cousins. We are brothers and sisters. So just to highlight that these are not the only prophets that God has appointed for humanity. According to the Quran, chapter 16, verse number 36, that God has appointed prophets and messengers to all the nations and all the people of the past. And their message was one: inviting humanity to the submission of one God. Not to worship humans and idols and animals and the creation, but only submit and worship to the one Creator. All right. Question to all of you. What is the one Arabic word that signifies the concept of absolute oneness to the Creator, the submission to the Creator? There is one Arabic word that defines that concept. Do any one of you know, especially our guest who came, what is that one Arabic word? By the way, that Arabic word is almost in all the posters, all right? Starts with the letter I. Bruce, do you know the answer? What if I give you the second letter, S? You got it, right? Islam, yes. The word Islam, all right. Excellent. Yeah, you can give her a hand. Good job, right? There you go. So what we say is that Islam is not a new faith. We say that every single prophet, every single messenger, they all came to invite people to the worship of the one Creator. So it so happened that some people later on, they diluted that monotheism and they started to adopt human worship, animal worship, idol worship. That's the reason, according to Islam, we have so many faiths. However, according to Islam, all of these prophets were kept on being sent by God to bring people back again to monotheism, back again to Islam, which is submission to the one Creator. So if you ask my son Yusuf up there, right, 4th grader, hey Yusuf, who do you think, Jesus and Moses, do you think they are Christians and Jews and Hindus? Yusuf, what would you say? What is the faith of Musa alayhi salam? Islam, right? Yes, Islam. So we say that all of these prophets were Muslims because they worship and invited people to the worship of one God. So really quickly, in 10 minutes, I want to wrap up. So these are some of the highlights from the life of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. As you can see, he was born in the year 570. He married around this year, right? However, between this time, before revelation came to him when he was at the age of 40, he was taken as the best person in all of Arabia, the most credible person. Nowadays people, like youth especially, if they want to introduce each other, they may say, this is my friend, he's good in, basketball or Minecraft or Roblox, right? Or the games that you guys play. They may introduce like that to each other. Back in those times, when they used to introduce Muhammad, peace be upon him, to some person, they would say that this is Muhammad, peace be upon him. He is the most honest and the most truthful person. Those were the attributes, that was the caliber and the credibility that all of Arabia, that they used to have about him. So he started to receive revelation, and angel Gabriel was sent by God to Muhammad, peace be upon him, and that revelation came in bits and pieces. One passage here, one chapter over here. for the rest of the 23 years, from the age of 40 until he passed away, the whole Quran was revealed, it was compiled, and it was memorized, and it was passed on. All right, some amazing things quickly, since I'm speaking about the Quran. There is a passage in the Quran that God is saying, the Arabic is this, Inna nahnu nazzalna zikra wa inna lahu lahafizun. So God is saying that it is Allah who has revealed this message. He is going to protect it. So from our brothers and sisters from other faith, you'll be amazed and surprised to find out that Quran has not been changed in the last 1400 plus years. You know, the young boy Saleh who recited the Quran, he's in the process of memorizing the whole Quran from the first page to the last page. So when he recited the passages from the Quran in Arabic, you may have seen he didn't have any book in his hand. There was no phone, he was not looking at a screen. From his memory, he was reciting the Quran. So just the Muslims who are here, how many of you have memorized at least 10 chapters of the Quran, right, in Arabic language? Okay, I'm one of them. I'm just saying 10 chapters, right? Okay, raise your hand, big and high. Okay, all the Muslims. There you go. There you go. Almost every Muslim, right? Every Muslim. 10 chapters in Arabic. Okay, any Muslim over here who memorized the whole Quran, first page to the last page? There you go. We have the Imam over here, right? And the two boys up there, like my son and then Saleh who recited the Quran. Saleh, he completed close to 60% of the Quran in memory, in Arabic, right? Young boys. And my son who is up there memorized how much? 30% of the Quran. So they are doing memorization of the Quran full time. And just maybe in the next few months or so, they will finish the whole Quran. Memorized, inshallah, right? Inshallah. So that's one amazing feature of the Quran. So rest of the things over here, really quickly. So Muhammad, peace be upon him, he shared monotheism to his people. Some people, they accepted it. Some people, they still believe in the idols. So he eventually moved to the state of Medina, which is about maybe 4 hours drive. I mean, no cars at that time, but if you drive now from Makkah to Medina, it is about 4 hours. So what did he implemented? Some of the passages and the guidance of the Quran. My rest of the presentation, then we will take Q&A, right? Any question that you may have. So Muhammad, peace be upon him, by his actions, by his sayings, how he implemented God's guidance and how he transformed the society away from idol worship into monotheism, away from oppression of women into giving awesome rights to women, away from infanticide of baby girls in saving and protecting the baby girls, away from racism into equality of all the races, and many, many wonderful things. So saying of Muhammad, peace be upon him, again to re-emphasize what's in that poster. See, one of the ways to go to paradise according to Islam, yes, having the right belief, doing good deeds, but also by respecting and taking care of the parents. You know, Quran, Muhammad, peace be upon him, he says that paradise lies beneath the feet of your mothers. That means by honoring, respecting, taking care of the mothers, yes, fathers also, that's one of the ways of going to paradise. Then at this point, I need to say something awesome about Islam regarding mothers. The nursing home of the parents is the home of the child. Yes. There is no concept of nursing homes in Islam, that you put your parents up there, grandparents up there, you take care of your mothers and your fathers. Of course, there are exceptions. If there is medical help is needed, right? Hospice and all of that, that's totally different. But by default, taking care of the parents and grandparents and our elders is the job, responsibility of the children. Just imagine a society in which that is implemented. And that is what Islam says. The respect, the honor, the love of parents, especially of the mothers. You know, knowledge is so important for us. That's the reason Bruce and others, you guys go to school and colleges. How many teachers are here in this room? Raise of hand, right? 1, 2, right? At least 2, 3, 4, 5 teachers over here. knowledge is so important. God says that God makes the way to paradise easy for those who is in the path of seeking knowledge. Okay, here is a quiz question, especially to the teachers. All right, you guys are ready? The teachers? There you go. Many of us, we have been to, obviously, schools, colleges, and then universities. And we take the universities for granted, right? Harvard and Windsor and Ontario and, Cambridge, Penn State. So I'm from US, so I'm naming some of the campuses up there. There was one campus in the history of humanity, according to Encyclopedia Britannica and UNESCO, that campus has been called as the oldest continuous university in the whole world. Can you guess what is that campus, the name of that campus? According to all the scholarly sources, that is the oldest continuous university in the whole world. Okay. It's not Al-Azhar, by the way. It's a good guess. Al-Azhar is number 2. All right. A hint would be this: it is built in Africa. One more hint is it is in Morocco. One more hint is it is in the city of Fez. One more hint is somebody is looking at the poster there. All right. to give away, right? To give away. All right. Oh, it's not there. Well, it speaks about the respect, our importance of education, but the answer is not there. Okay, Saleh, you know the answer. Yes, University of Qarawiyyin. Who is the founder of that university? Fatima Al-Fahri, he knows the answer, right? All right, mashallah. The point I'm trying to raise is this. Despite the negative perceptions, misunderstandings people may have about Islam, thanks to the media, right? It were the Muslim ladies who were laying the foundations of the oldest universities, hospitals and pharmacies. When our ladies in this country, in the US, in the Europe, when they were struggling and fighting for rights, the right to vote, the right to have education, the right to have their last names, the right to own property, Islam gave those rights way back in the 7th century. Women in Islam. So the oldest continuous university in the whole world, it was made by a Muslim lady wearing the hijab like her. So that's the honor, the rights Islam has given to women way back in the 7th century that we in this country around the world that we take for granted, and that is because the emphasis of knowledge in Islam. Regarding the wives, so we had the mothers, so now about the wives, right? The wife. Muhammad, peace be upon him, he said that the best person amongst you is the one who is the best towards your spouse, towards your wife. Look at the culture that he came in. In that culture, before Islam came to Arabia, women didn't have rights the way that we enjoy. They were taken as property. They were inherited. No rights, they were oppressed. Look at what the Prophet is saying, that the best person amongst you is the one who is the best towards your mothers, your wives and your daughters. Okay, what about this one over here, right? Regarding what will happen, what kind of deeds that are going to be passed on. So there are 3 things that follow a dead person. Members of the family, they go all the way to the cemetery, and the property the person has, and the deeds the person has done. So the Prophet is saying that after you bury a person, the family goes away, all the homes, the cars, the Teslas, doesn't matter to a dead person. The only thing that will matter to a dead person would be the deeds that he has done in this world. So that's the emphasis of being the best person, ambassador of peace to all of humanity. That's the encouragement that Muhammad, peace be upon him, that he is giving. Regarding our elders, right? Okay, you had the mothers, but regarding any elder which is out there, and the Prophet is not saying a Muslim elder or a non-Muslim elder. So this is what the Prophet said. He is not one of us who shows no mercy to the young ones and does not acknowledge the honor due to the elders. Doesn't matter Muslim, non-Muslim, every person, every Muslim is encouraged. It's an obligation for us to be the best towards our elders and have mercy to the younger people. One of the ways that people have, drunk driving and road rage and car accidents and killing is because people get angry at a drop of a pin sometimes. So the Prophet is saying that the strong man is not the one who wrestles good. The strong man is in fact the one who controls his or her anger, rage. You know, one more saying of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, just to go along with this. The Prophet said, say something good or remain silent. Can you imagine, right? Can you imagine how many marriages can be saved? Correct? Always say good. Always say good. If you don't have any good to say, just be silent. How many wars, how many frictions can be prevented if people are always good to each other? What about the neighbors, right? What about the neighbors? The Prophet said that you are not a full believer if you eat your full and your neighbors are hungry. Yes, you like that one? Yes. So see, in Islam it's not enough for us just to wave at the neighbors or have some social activity with the neighbors. In Islam we are supposed to know the needs of the neighbors to such an extent that by knowing the needs, we are supposed to fulfill the needs. So if your neighbor is hungry, how would you know it? Unless and until you have that rapport with the neighbor to such an extent, now you know the needs of the neighbors. Not knowing the needs, we are supposed to fulfill the needs of the neighbors, especially when it comes to the basic needs. So there are so many, right? So there are so many. So let me just summarize, and I want to take as many questions and answers as possible. I was speaking to this wonderful, amazing table there, and the table here, right? And all the tables are amazing. I was mentioning to them that one of the reasons we are having this mosque, the masjid open house, is that there are so many misconceptions people may have about each other, especially about the faith of Islam. And these misconceptions and the fear of the unknowns, they may create walls in between communities, between cultures, between neighbors, and between humans, unfortunately. So the reason that we are here is by meeting with each other, by eating this amazing food. Okay, give a big hand to all the volunteers who made this happen. Right? May Allah bless all of you with the best in this world and the best in the hereafter, especially the younger volunteers who are smiling up there. Right? MashaAllah. So by us coming here together, these walls will go away, the hate, the bias, discrimination that results from the unknown goes away. Now we can see each other as humans, as brothers and sisters in this wonderful humanity. And that is the purpose. So let me end with this amazing passage from the Quran that speaks about the reason why we are here and why we should know each other. This is from chapter 49 of the Quran, verse number 13. Our Creator, addressing all of humanity, not just the Muslims, He's saying, and I'm just giving the translation. So God is saying in chapter 49, verse number 13 of the Quran, that, O mankind, O humanity, I have created you from one single male and one single female, and made you into nations and peoples and tribes, that you get to know each other. Not that you may hate and despite and discriminate with each other. God is saying the reason He created us the way that we are is that we should get to know each other. And then God says that the best amongst you is the one who is a well-mannered, pious and God-fearing person. So I hope and pray that may God help us to live in this amazing humanity as brothers and sisters. And I pray that may God bring unity to all of humanity, away from the wars and discrimination and racism and oppression, so we can establish societies which are based upon morality, justice and peace for all. That is the message of Islam, and that is the message of peace. Thanks a lot for coming. My name is Sabil Ahmed. I have taught close to 15,000 students from around the world. I have a passion to teach, I have a passion to travel, I have a passion to also read and read and read. The more I travel, the more I find out that people have a thirst to learn about faith, thirst to learn about Islam, but there are not many books, like a one-stop shop, there are not many places. So this course, inshallah, God willing, as we say, this is a one-stop shop, so you can learn Islam not from some dilute sources, not from the social media, not from Google. It may be wrong, it may be right, but learn from Muslims and learning from the authentic Islamic sources. So what this course is going to cover? Not only we will cover the basics of Islam, for example, the 6 beliefs, the 5 pillars. You can also learn about the cultures, the Islamic and the Muslim holidays, some of the rituals and the practices. Maybe your friends, your colleagues and your classmates may be doing. You'll be better informed. And last but not the least, we will learn some of the misunderstood concepts within Islam. For example, apostasy, Sharia, Sunni and Shia, jihad, women in Islam. These are all misunderstood concepts. So together we can clarify what are the actual meanings of these important concepts. Hopefully by taking the course you will realize, this is what the media is saying about those concepts, but this is the reality coming from the Islamic sources. And lastly, you will realize many things which are in common between people of faith, between Islam and Judaism and the faith of Christianity. So we will realize that there are so many things in common, and one of the purpose of this course is to build on those commonalities so we can work together to make better societies. So let's embark to study the faith of 2 billion people. See you in the class. Thank you.